Welcome to the Wealth and Love Blueprint, where love meets logic and money reveals the truth.
So, today we're going to tear down one of the biggest myths in dating. You've probably been told that you have to chase someone to show you're interested, right? But what if that's the exact reason you keep getting ignored? We're about to break down a framework that completely flips that advice on its head. Let's get right into it. You know the scene from every romantic comedy, right? The hero relentlessly pursues the girl, and his persistence is sold to us as the absolute peak of romance. But the framework we're looking at today says that's pure fantasy. In the real world, that same behavior doesn't signal dedication, it actually screams low value. And it can literally kill any attraction that might have been there to begin with.
So that really is the question, isn't it? Is the chase some grand romantic gesture? Or is it a huge, self-sabotaging mistake that's based on a total misunderstanding of how attraction actually works? Let's see what the source material has to say.
Okay, first things first, let's just dissect this myth of the chase. According to this framework, if someone actually wants you to chase them, the real reasons behind it are, well, they're rarely a good sign for a healthy relationship down the road. The source material really breaks it down to a few possibilities. 1, they just enjoy the thrill and the ego boost of being pursued. 2, they've got their guard way up and they're testing you to see how much effort you'll put in. Or 3, and this is the one that's a tough pill to swallow, they're just not that into you, and the chase is just a way to keep you around for validation.
And this whole dynamic leads us straight into a core concept from the source material, something called the desperation trap. But here's the real kicker. The biggest danger of chasing isn't just getting rejected, it's what happens, psychologically, if you actually succeed.
So what exactly is this desperation trap? Well, it's that tipping point where all your effort stops looking like romantic dedication and it starts looking like straight-up neediness. And in their mind, once that switch flips, your perceived value just plummets, and your attractiveness goes right down with it. You can see this negative feedback loop in action right here. It's a vicious cycle. You pour in all this effort, and it's not reciprocated. That effort then gets perceived as desperation. And as a result, any attraction they might have had just fades away, which, of course, probably makes you want to try even harder, and the whole thing just spirals downwards faster.
Really, the bottom line is this. Trying to force or coerce someone's attention when they're not giving it freely is just a terrible, terrible investment. You're burning through your two most valuable resources, your time and your energy.
But let's go back to that other scenario. What if you put in all that work and you actually win the chase? Well, according to this source, that's when you walk right into an even more dangerous trap, something called the pedestal game. And it's a game you can never, ever truly win. The logic behind this starts with a really simple but powerful rule. The dynamic you use to start the relationship sets the rules for the entire thing. Basically, however you get them is how you have to keep them. So, if you win them over by being the one doing all the chasing, all the work, you've just established a fundamental power imbalance. You've essentially taught them that they are the prize, up on a pedestal, and you are the worker who has to constantly perform to earn their attention and approval. And you can see the result right here. That massive amount of effort you put in just to get their attention, that's not the end of it. That's the new minimum. That's your new baseline. To keep the relationship going, you have to keep up that same level of effort or even more. And that is a surefire recipe for complete burnout. Okay, so if chasing is a push dynamic that completely backfires, what's the alternative? The source material offers a really strategic solution, shifting your focus from pushing for attention to creating a natural pull. And just look at the difference here. Push is all about neediness, right? It's constant texting, always seeking their approval, making them the center of your universe. Pull is the opposite. It's confident. It means you are the center of your universe. You're focused on your mission. And that focus naturally draws people in and makes them want to invest in you. So, how do you actually build this pull factor? Well, the framework is pretty straightforward. You take all that time and energy you were spending on them, and you redirect it back onto yourself. You focus on your goals, your career, your health, your purpose. Your mission in life has to become the priority, not chasing someone else. And let's be clear, the point here isn't to play hard to get. It's to actually become hard to get, because you're genuinely busy building an incredible life for yourself. When you are laser focused on your own purpose, that focus itself is magnetic. And when that happens, the roles just naturally reverse.
And that brings us to the final and honestly the most important takeaway from this entire framework. It's a simple idea, but it's a profound shift in thinking. You need to chase purpose, not people.
When you really boil it all down, this entire strategy comes down to how you manage your single most valuable asset.
And that asset is your time and your focus. Where you choose to invest those two things will determine the entire trajectory of your life, including your relationships. According to this model, your focused attention is your ultimate superpower.
So the rule to live by is this. Have enough self-respect to cut your losses and walk away the moment you feel that your interest isn't being matched. Your time is way too valuable to spend it trying to convince someone of your worth. You have to know that your options are abundant and operate from that mindset, not from a place of scarcity.
And that leaves us with one last question to think about. If you took all that energy you've been spending on chasing and you redirected it, what is the single most important personal goal that is truly worth all of your undivided focus?
By aligning your heart and your finances, you unlock true growth. Subscribe to Wealth and Love Blueprint.